Hey guys, welcome to our Neuroanatomy development tutorial. In this installment, we'll be talking about neuralation. This is the process of differentiation of tissue that happens to the zygote from 2 weeks after conception to around 4 weeks post-conception. It is important to note that all the figures in this tutorial are sagittal cross-sections. This first figure is the brain after 2 weeks of development. It is comprised of 3 layers. The top layer, in blue, is the ectoderm. This will eventually form the skin, neural tissues in the brain and spinal cord, along with a variety of non-neural structures. The red and middle layer is the mesoderm, and this forms the muscles, skeleton, and connective tissue. Interestingly, this layer is loosely packed and has many different cell types, unlike the tightly packed and well-organized ecto and endoderms. In orange is the endoderm, and this becomes the digestive and respiratory organs. In the 3rd week of development, we begin to see some differentiation. In purple, we see the neural plate, which is derived from the ectoderm. The green is the neural plate boundary, and the blue is undifferentiated ectoderm. The lateral red structures are somites, which will eventually become skeletal muscle and bone. The medial structure is the notochord, and is also differentiated mesoderm. The notochord sends a message to the ectoderm to thicken, and creates the neural plate. Following this, it sends the signals for it to begin folding. This creates the neural groove and the neural folds. As the neural folds come together, we see convergence, which is the fusion of the 2 neural crests. Following convergence, this structure is now the neural tube. The rostral, or anterior end, will eventually become the brain, and the caudal, or posterior end, will become the spinal cord. In this 3rd figure, the blue ectoderm gradually becomes the epidermis, and the green neural crests begin to sink down in between the somites. In the final step of neuralation, we can see that the neural crests have seeped in between the neural tube and somites. They are now the spinal ganglia. These neural crest cells will also continue to sink down and form the 12 cranial nerves, 31 spinal nerves, and the autonomic nervous system. We can also see that the somites are beginning to show swellings. These will become the somatic nervous system, which controls the voluntary muscular movement of the body. Don't worry, we didn't forget about the neural tube. The walls of this structure become the neurons of the central nervous system, and the lumen becomes the ventricular system, which is ultimately shaped by the pushy neocortex as the brain develops. Following this stage, we see further differentiation into the 3 ventricle stage and the 5 ventricle stage, as the brain matures into what we would recognize as a typical human brain. Thanks for joining us. We hope that you found this helpful.